Welcome Ritual Skill Modelling. My next build is this Master Ball series ship in a bottle kit of the Mayflower. Now this is my first attempt at doing anything like this, and if you've watched the previous video of my announcements of the kit, you'll know that I've run into some problems while building this. As it stands, the kit still isn't finished, but I have moved on slightly with it. So I think it's now the stage where I can put up a small video just to show you what I've done so far. So there'll be a couple of parts to this video up to the point where hopefully I can get it done. But as I say, I'm running into a few problems with it, mainly down to my inexperience, I would assume. I'm also waiting for a couple of materials to arrive. I've ran out of super glue, for instance, and over the Christmas period, it's a little bit difficult to get things fairly quickly over the internet. So I'm waiting on some of that arriving as well. So with all that being said, let's jump into this and see how well I get on. So here's the kit itself. As you can see, it's quite a large box, but there's actually not much in the box itself. So I'll just bring the box up. So as you can see, it's mostly polystyrene in this box. The sheet I've got here are for the cells. Now, generally I don't use these cells, but I will be using them. The number panels and things like that are for the rigging for pulling the mass up when it goes into the ball. But as I said, I will actually be using these cells this time around. At first I wasn't sure what this stuff was, and it's a type of clay that's meant to be for moulding the sea, and similarly it heats up in your hand and it's mouldable. This tool here is there just to place it inside the bottle. Now this was one of the first problems I came up against. This clay is either too old or not fit for purpose. I've tried applying heat to it, adding a bit of water, just nothing. So I've had to come up with a way to replicate the sea. It comes with a very shoddy brush, as you can see, which is not good for anything, really. It has a little pot of red paint and a cork for the bottle. It has a little bit of cord there for the rigging. I'm not going to be using this cord, I'm going to be using my own. It has the bottle, obviously. Though this is just like a milk bottle. It needs wash, so I will be doing that. The sprue itself, there's only one sprue for the ship. You can see it's very small. What I did like about the though was it gave you a spare set of masks on the sprue just in case you snapped one because they are so small. We have the stand for the bottle, and the thinner part is a little jig to hold the ship into place, and we have a gold nameplate as well there. Onto the instructions. The instructions are a little bit trickier than your normal instructions to follow. This is because of the nature of the build. Well, when I say tricky, they're not really trickier, they're just not what I'm used to. So I had to pay more attention to them as I was building them. But it does lay out the construction of the masts quite well once I figured out how to do them. There is an option to paint or use these little paper markings, which would have to be white glued on. In the end, I did use these paper markings. I did try to paint them, but I wasn't very good, so I decided just to place these on. I'm just pointing out the jig there for the ship. That's, as I say, it's just to hold everything in place while you're building it. The rigging itself is it's simple but complicated as well, because it has to go a certain way for you to pull up the masts, and this is for what these little numbers are for. So each one has her own little tagline, and when you pull them in order, hopefully everything comes up and into place. So I'm moving on to the build itself, and the first paint I'm going to be using is Revel Aquacolor 301 White Silk. And this is for the railings on top of the ship. Now, as you can see, I'm going to be painting on the sprue once more, as always. Just a little explanation why I'm doing this. This is just for ease of use in handling the actual model itself. The next colours I'm painting in, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm actually covering these up with the paper decal. Originally, as I said at the start of the video, I was going to hand paint all the detail in, but I just wasn't steady enough. So there's no point me going into it greatly because it is all going to be covered up. And it's the same with the front part of this red. There's a nice colour to go in. It was a River Aquila 19 red, but again, I'm covering it up, so it's not actually going to be on display. I'm using River Aquila 382 wood brown, and this is for the main hull of the ship. And then River Aquila 17 African brown for the deck. For the detailing on the deck, I'm using River Aquila 381 brown silk. So it's just the raised areas on the actual deck itself that's going to be getting this colour. And then it's just a matter of working around the deck, highlighting areas that I wish to be highlighted. So it's a very simple and basic paint work that's going on. Then I'm using Life Colours LPW18 wooden deck darkener just to dirty up the deck, make it more worn to wear and tear throughout the actual deck. Just placing it on haphazardly, not bothering about finesse. I want it to be rough and ready so it looks like the deck has been in constant use. And then it's back to River Aquacolor 381 brown silk for the mast. Now you may notice the yellow on the hull of the ship. Again, this is getting covered with the paper decals, so I'm not really going into it all that much. This is the 17 African brown to highlight parts of the mast also. For the yards, I'm using River Aquacolor 89 beige. And lastly, for the anchors, it's River Aquacolor 09 anthracite. So it's now time to place on the paper decals. I'm using a bit of white glue for this and just spreading it liberally over the area, and I'll just clean up any excess as I go along. I'll then place in the decal itself, well, transfer or whatever you want to call it really. Is that transfer because it's just a sheet of paper? I don't know. But anyway, it just sits right inside. There is a little ridge line for it to sit into, so it's not a great issue getting it into place. And of course there's one for each side of the ship as well as the prow of the ship. So now it's onto the stand. It's a very simple makeup of the stand. As you can see here, the two support beams into the main base. I'm using Mr. Hobby H28 metallic metal black, and this is just for the rim where the nameplate is going to be. Then for the base itself, it's River Aquacolor 90 silver. And once everything's dry, I'll be placing on the nameplate. Generally I wait until the end to do this, but I keep on forgetting to put the nameplate on. By the time I edit the video, I think, oh well, I haven't done the nameplate. I will do it later on. So I thought I would do it now and get it out of the way and done. So once it's on, I just need to tidy up a little bit of the black paint, and that's the base done. And the last thing I'm going to be doing for this part is placing on the lifeboats. The location points of these are quite wide, and the lifeboats are not really in proportion. I suppose it's just the nature of the kit. They look rather clumsy. If you had bought a proper kit, you wouldn't be happy with these. But I bought this in a charity shop, so I'm not particularly bothered about whether it's in scale or not. So once they're actually on, it's time to place the deck onto the ship and close up the hull as well, of course. Now, first of all, I'm closing up the hull. The instructions say put the deck on first, but the deck didn't quite fit doing it that way. So I decided to close up the bowl first of all, and then place in the deck and force it in as such. It took a little bit of pressure to get it in, but I needed to get it tight in order for the mast to sit in its housing properly so it can freely move up and down. So this is where I'll end part one as I'm placing this all together. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for the rest of my builds? If you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, that would be a great help. Of course, you can share the video as well. And don't forget to leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.